everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my pregnancy and labour story with my youngest daughter Florence. Now I had Florence through Caesarean, so it's very different to my story with Isabella, because obviously I had her, tried to have her naturally and ended up having forceps delivery. So I wanted to share my different experiences because they were so different and my pregnancies were both really different, so I decided to talk to you separately about both. So with Florence, we fell really quick again. We were really fortunate, and my morning sickness started about 8 weeks again, 8-9 weeks, and it was a little bit worse than it was with Bella because it was a bit worse because I had a lot of feeling nauseous. With Bella, every time I was sick, I had that little bit of relief until the next time. But with Florence, I didn't have that. I'd be sick, but I'd feel sick right up until the next time I was sick, and then I'd still feel sick, and then, you know, I didn't really get a relief. And also it went on a little bit longer. I finally stopped my morning sickness at about 14 weeks, so it was a little bit more difficult. But the things that I found helped me, if anyone's going through it, were fizzy sweets, you know, like the Haribo tan pastics. They really helped, and also the C bands you can buy that go around your wrists that have the little pressure point bit there, they actually really helped as well, with my nauseous feeling. So everything went smoothly. I went to the hospital, and at my 12-week scan, my 12-week scan was fine, everything was, you know, good. I went to see the consultant because of my birth with Bella. They advised me because of my tear to maybe go for a Caesarean, because there was a chance I could tear again, but it was a small chance, but it was more the fact of my blood pressure. So obviously with Bella, my blood pressure was extremely high and I got pre-eclampsia. And actually during labour there was a bit of a panic because it did get quite high and Bella got a little bit distressed, which is why I had to be taken to surgery. So this time I was advised to maybe think about it, but I didn't have to let them know until I saw them again, and I was about 32 weeks when I next saw them. So I had quite a long time to think about it, and I was told to go on aspirin once a day to keep my blood pressure under control, also to try not gain too much weight, because obviously, if you've seen my first video, you know I gained a lot of weight with my pregnancy with Bella, about 5 stone, and I'd managed to lose a bit before I got pregnant again, but obviously I was advised this time to try and keep it under control best you can, and also to try and keep my stress levels down. I did get quite bad anxiety with Bella, which I'll do another video about how I dealt with it. Yeah, I got quite bad anxiety, which didn't really go until, it was quite a while after I'd had Bella, probably about 9-10 months after I'd had Bella, so that was not fun, and I didn't want to get that again because I don't think that helped with my blood pressure. So I advised to sort of do things to help calm me down, find ways to relax and enjoy the pregnancy. So I had that appointment and I felt much better when I came out of there. Obviously I had to think about Caesareans and think about how I was going to do it and all that. I still really wanted to have a water birth. It's always been my dream, and obviously I did experience a bit of it with Bella, about 7 hours, and I loved it. It was amazing, didn't have any other pain relief, it was so lovely. But because I am quite anemic and the issues I had with Bella, they said there was no chance that was going to happen this time. So me and Chris sat and had a really long chat about it, and it was a worry for him when the blood pressure went up, and they couldn't bring it down, and obviously Bella got distressed, and it was quite a worry. And we just decided, for the safe side, you know, they had advised it, we thought if they're advising it, there's obviously a reason, we'll go for it. So we decided to go for the Caesarean. Everything else went really smoothly. It was a really good pregnancy actually. After my sickness went to 14 weeks, it was fine. I didn't put on as much weight, my anxiety was fine, I was chilled. I started doing the pregnancy yoga on YouTube, just found different videos to do on there, which really helped me to chill out, stay calm. Obviously I had Bella, which was really busy anyway, didn't really have time to sit and worry about things, just run around after. She was about 14-15 months, around this sort of I found out I was pregnant when she was about 10 months. Obviously when I started to get a little bit bigger, about 15 months, and when she was then starting to walk. So I was so busy trying to run around after her, didn't really have time to be worried about stuff like I did on my pregnancy with her. And when I got to 26 weeks, I was shopping with my mum in Norwich, and I was just walking along, pushing the buggy. She was holding Bella, and got really bad pains, very low, very strong pains. Obviously really panicked, so I thought, well, this isn't right, I shouldn't be getting these, certainly not at this point. Obviously I did have my latent labour with Bella. I hadn't panicked too much about different pains because I did have about 4 or 5 weeks of that with Belle. So I thought, like, the pains and stuff, I'm obviously more prone to aches and pains and stuff like that. But this obviously was only 26 weeks, and I thought that's way too early for latent labour, like that's not right. I thought maybe I'd just overdone it. So, because we'd been shopping for the morning, lots of walking about, you know, but obviously it wasn't that near the end, so I didn't think there was an issue. And I went and I sat down on the bench, and they were still quite strong. And I said to my mum, like, these don't feel right. Got a little bit worried about it. So we decided to leave. I got in the car, went home, I was getting them the whole way back in the car. And then I was like, right, I'll go home, see how they are. I'll chill out for a bit, relax, see how they go. If they're bad, I'll head up to the hospital, or, you know, give them a call and see what they say. So I went home and just chilled out, relaxed, watched a bit of telly, had a cup of tea, tried to just relax on the sofa. And then they kind of wore off about 1-2 o'clock in the morning. They went. And I thought, they didn't get any stronger, so I didn't panic too much. And then the next morning I got up and they came back. So it was the same as my latent labour, how it was with Belle. And I thought, this isn't... As soon as I got out of bed and started moving, they came back. And I thought, well, that's not right. We shouldn't really be getting that. So I called the midwife, just wanted to have a chat with her because I didn't want to rush up to the hospital if there was no reason, if it was just aches and pains and nothing to worry about. So I gave the local midwife a call and had a little chat with her, and she said, I went through everything with her, and she said it sounded like I was in early labour. Obviously you hear the words early labour, 26 weeks pregnant, panic like mad. Is my baby going to be okay? You know, am I in labour? You know, real panics. She advised me to go up to delivery suite, so I went up to delivery suite. They were amazing. I was seen straight away, so I didn't have any time to be sitting panicking. They took me straight into a room and checked me over, and they said that I wasn't actually in labour because my cervix was still up. I was fine. I wasn't actually in immediate labour, and so they did the test to see. You know what, I'm going to have to check what it's called. I will check what it's called and I will link it down below if anyone's interested in what the test is called, because I can't remember what they checked. I'm sure people who've been pregnant probably realise. I don't know if it's a new test, as I never had this with Bella. I don't know. But I had a check and they told me it was 2 ticks, 3 ticks. Again, I will check what the test is because I'm really sorry, I can't remember what it was called. Complete mind blank. But I will link it down below so you know what I'm talking about, because I'm probably not sounding very clear. But yeah, I had a check and there was 3 ticks, which apparently meant there was about a 60-70% chance she was going to come in the next 48 hours. So you hear that, I'm freaking out. I burst into tears. I was like, you know, I'm not ready for my baby to come. I'm only 26 weeks pregnant. You know, she might not be alright. I was really, really worried. and they said I had to stay in hospital and have 2 steroid injections, one that day and then one the day after. And if anyone's had to have steroids, they hurt quite a lot. They feel like a bee sting. Like, the actual injection's not too bad, but then they keep on and on and on, and it's just like a bee sting. Yeah, they quite hurt. And I had to have one of those, and then I had to stay in hospital overnight, and I was getting really bad cramps all night. I got no sleep because I was obviously thinking, oh my god, she could come tonight, so I was panicking with every little cramp. So I stayed in hospital. The next day, same time as I'd had it the first day, I had another injection, and another steroid injection, and everything had calmed down a little bit by that point. A little bit achy, but nothing seemed to be happening, so they said I could go home, because I'd had the 2 steroid injections that would help her lungs to form, so if she was to come, she'd have a much better chance. And they did tell me that if she was to come, she would most likely be absolutely fine anyway, so I didn't need to panic. So I went home, but I had 3 months of really worrying about my baby, because I had a lot of pains. Most days I would have pains. It was basically like the later labour, just started much earlier. I had the pains and I was so worried that she was going to come. I did lots of things to try and stop. I looked online to see what we could do to stop contractions if they'd started, and to stop babies coming, because I didn't know what was contractions or what was just pains. I was a bit confused at this point and worried and everything else. So I did the whole yoga move, I think it's the polar bear move, I think that's what it's called, where you lay on your put your head like on the floor and put your bottom in the air, so the gravity is apparently supposed to help the baby stay and not drift down. Had to do that a lot. Laid on my side lots, because apparently that helps. Drank lots of water, you know, everything I could see online to try and stop things happening. So yeah, I had that for a few months, and my serum was all put in and everything, but I basically had that for the rest of my pregnancy. Panic. I mean, once I got to about 32, 34 weeks, I think you're in like the safety zone, and they said she wouldn't need to be in a incubator. I think it's 34 weeks. So I actually felt much better then, because I thought, well, if she comes, I haven't got to leave her in the hospital, because that's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to have to leave her. And then I got to right up to 3 days before I was due is when I had her, and so I didn't really need to panic, but obviously you don't know that at that point. I had her on the 29th of December, and she was due on New Year's Day, so I didn't need to panic at all. But now looking back, I know, you know, if I get told it next time, maybe I won't panic as much, but you just don't know, do you, because every pregnancy is so different. And I went in, it's my first cesarean I'd had, and I didn't really know what to expect. And I got up in, it was really strange, because me and Chris got up about 5, 6 o'clock to get to the hospital for 7. And obviously got your bag packed, you take your bag with you, no pains or anything, and you know that you're coming home with a baby. It's really strange, completely different to my first time. And so we got to the hospital and sat in the room for a while, put the stockings on, put my gown on, said we'd go have a little wander. Went on a little wander. Chris had breakfast, because obviously I can't eat anything after midnight when you're having a cesarean, you know, the night before. So he sat and had a fried breakfast in front of me, which was torture. And I was called down to go down there at about 11:30 in the morning. I was really nervous about the injection in your hand, because I don't like injections. And I was really nervous about the one in your back, the epidural, because I hate injections, I hate needles, terrified of them. But I went in and I was so nervous, I was just basically hyperventilating, and they were like, are you okay, just calm down. Mostly about the needles, and it's just not knowing what to expect really. And then I had both those injections, absolutely fine, no issues whatsoever. They were fine, didn't really hurt at all. Obviously I'd had them with Belle, but because I was having other pains, I thought, oh, I didn't notice about them, but they were fine. I had no stress. And I had a really, really lovely team in there. They were amazing. They were chatting to me the whole time, kept me really at ease, which was good because I'm one of those people who get so worked up about things. They were amazing. I felt really chilled as you can feel. And I didn't feel anything. I felt, you feel everything they're doing, but no pain at all. So if anyone is having a cesarean, don't panic, will be my words, because I panicked. And they're not that bad. I mean, they are strange because you can feel absolutely everything. Like, no pain, but you can feel it. Like, you can feel them moving you. You actually move a little bit on the table, like, because they have to be quite strong. That, you know, not strong, but quite rough with you to get the baby out. So you do kind of move about a bit, and you feel everything. It's really strange. As people say, it is like someone washing up in your tummy. That is really the only way to describe it. But it's not that bad. So if you are having one and you're feeling a bit nervous like I did, I just wanted to make people aware. I am the biggest wuss you'll ever meet, and I didn't find it as anywhere near as bad as I thought it would be. The worst thing for me was, which I hadn't, it's my own fault because I didn't research it. I only literally thought about the birth. I watched loads of videos of people who've had cesareans, looked at loads of like tips and things for the actual cesarean, but did not look at the recovery. The recovery is the bit I found hard. You're very, very sore. Obviously your tummy is really delicate, and my number one tip, if you are having a cesarean, make sure you have a pillow with you for the journey home, because it hurts on the drive home. Pop it under your tummy, keep hold of your tummy muscles, because I didn't know this, I hadn't researched it, it's my own fault, but the whole journey back from hospital, which is about 50 minutes, was awful. Every little bump in the road, and I don't just mean speed bumps, like every tiny little bump in the road, just a little uneven bit, hurt. Everything was a bit uncomfortable. So if you're having a cesarean, make sure you take a pillow and use it, because it does help. Also, so to say, if you have the stitches that are pulled out, the first few days I found really, really uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep like comfortably because they were pulling. Like when I like to lay on my side. I mean, I love to lay on my front, but obviously couldn't do that at that point. So I like to lay on my side, and trying to lay on my side hurt because it pulled a bit. So I had to sit on my back with like 2 pillows behind me to like prop me up. That's how I slept. But once you've had them out, normally about like 3 or 4 days after, amazing. You feel so much better. Make sure you keep dosed up on painkillers, because if you don't, it can be a lot more uncomfortable, and it's not worth making yourself more uncomfortable, because I had a couple of days where I didn't dose myself up, so much more uncomfortable. Kept myself dosed up, so much better. So make sure you keep yourself dosed up. So yeah, I found the actual recovery harder. But to be honest, I had, with my first child, I had a 3rd-degree tear, and that hurt a lot. And I actually found the cesarean a little bit easier, because I could go to the toilet and it didn't hurt. Like, okay, it hurts. Another tip. First time you have a poo, hurts. Make sure you take your laxatives, because for a while, it'll hurt when you want to go for a poo. So make sure you do that, because it hurts, because you've obviously got no strength in your tummy to push. So make sure you do that. So just FYI, a bit too much information there, but yeah. So that was my whole experience. I personally would choose a cesarean again. If anyone is thinking about them and is worried, as I say, don't worry, because they're not as bad as you're probably thinking. The recovery, yes, is a bit uncomfortable, so brace yourself for that. But it's not as bad as you're imagining, I expect, because that's what I'm like anyway. I hope this has been a bit informative. If you have any questions, please ask me. And thank you very much for watching. I will be uploading my video on my birth with Bella as well. I'll be doing that in a few days. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.